Here we are at the ECR study days, and now I'm sitting here with a Finnish member of the European Parliament, Mr. Sebastian Tynkkynen. You have had a speech here in a working session on security and defense in Northern Europe. What did you talk about?
Well, I was talking about the very hostile situation we actually have on the northern flank at the moment. We know that the security situation in Ukraine is horrible. We need to do everything to help Ukraine to win the war. At the same time, we realize that actually the northern flank has become a new geopolitical hotspot. And I'm meaning all of the Scandinavian, Nordic countries as well as Baltics. Russia is doing instrumentalization of migrants in our borders. It's something that we have never seen before, and we have needed to make new legislation, the tightest border legislation that there exists in any European Union country to tackle that problem. We see that Russian is harassing our GPS systems. We see that they harass our aviation. They do these flights to our airspace. They have been threatening to draw the maritime borders in our ocean, that Russia would have new borders. Just like so many threats, we have a breaking of the cables on our ocean. So this kind of like have started to become a new geopolitical hotspot where we are.
Is Finland safer inside the NATO?
Definitely it is, and it was just the right decision to join NATO. Now we have the collective defense, but also what was very important for Finland was that Sweden as well decided to join together with us to NATO, and so that our big brother behind our back is also belonging to NATO. It is really important for Finnish people, and we are really grateful for your government and also Swedish Democrats who supported the government as well, the whole society, that you decided to join NATO.
But isn't it a more realistic threat that the Baltic countries are a possible target for Putin in the future, since he probably sees them as a part of Russia's influence?
I would say that Baltic countries and Finland, we are on the same line. Actually, we talk about the border that we share with Russia. We have a way longer border with Russia. So many different spots from where to come, where to attack. We need to defend the whole border, and it's the longest one in whole Europe actually. And we are only population of 5.5 million people in Finland, and we have to do our job to protect it on behalf of the whole Europe. So it's either the same or it's even a harder job for us to do.
And what is your message to the European Union and the other member countries? Do you need help in Finland from the European Union?
Well,
NATO perhaps?
Yeah, my message would definitely be that Finland is willing and ready to do our part, defending our joint border in Europe. But if it would be the case that Russia would attack, if we compare the size of Russia compared to Finland, so of course economically, even military-wise, how many people we have in military, even though we have mandatory model, still we would be a very small nation, and in that scenario we would need the help of other European countries. And that means that we need to get prepared, because if the war would start like what we saw in Ukraine, you don't have time to waste to pump up your military production, defense spending, all of that. It needs to happen now before the war starts. And we are doing a lot, economically also using for defense, but we would be willing other European countries to do also the same, so that we could together support Europe. Also, I think we need to take the security concerns of other European countries. We need to consider them as well. Maybe some countries like Spain, Italy, France, Germany, at the moment they don't think so much about Russia and the threat it poses to us in the northern parts. For them, in their internal talks, in their domestic politics, migration is the security concern number one. And if we want defense help from other countries, which is our security concern. I think in Europe we should also talk more about the migration crisis. I think Europe and especially European Union has failed in this matter. We kind of have left these border countries in the Mediterranean Ocean, like Italy and so on, alone. When the migrants come there, so it's just their job, like to keep them away and do something. But actually, I think the problem, their security concern, is not solved until, for example, we make the asylum processing totally outside the borders of the European Union, which means the third countries. And this is the system that we need to tackle this security issue and help them. And the migration pact that was agreed in the European Parliament last term, it's not tackling that problem. It's just a mechanism to actually share the migrants who come to Europe, which is definitely what we don't want. So I think it's a two-way thing when it comes to security policy.
Yeah, sure. Finally, Sweden and Finland, the populations have been used to seeing those countries as neutral countries. Is there a broad popular support in Finland for the NATO membership?
Yes, there is. Definitely there is.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sebastian Tynkkynen.
Tack så mycket.